Do you want to be able to safely play Chinese suppliers without getting scammed? I'll show you the best methods to protect your money, whether you're a beginner or an advanced trader. My name is Michael and I help businesses and individuals source products from China. So if this content is interesting to you, please subscribe and hit that like button. Now the first method, and this is mainly tailored towards beginners, is to source solely from authorized platforms like Taobao, 1688, Alibaba, AliExpress. Now if you're doing this for the first time, then you can start with something simple like AliExpress. In AliExpress, they accept foreign bank cards. You don't have to deal with the pain of paying Chinese suppliers directly in Chinese yuan, and sometimes they may even offer international shipping. Same with Alibaba. A good thing about these platforms is that once you purchase a product, the money goes into escrow, meaning it's like in limbo with the platform, and the supplier doesn't receive the money until either one, they send proof that the products have arrived to its destination, or two, you as the buyer confirm that you have received the goods. So in the event there's a scam or you haven't received the goods, you can apply for a refund quickly. Now if you want to go direct to the supplier, you can use platforms like Taobao, where you can just simply buy products. You can see it's all labeled in Chinese yuan, or 1688. So when you go to make a payment on Taobao, let's say I find a product that I like and I want to pay for it, there is an option to use overseas bank cards. You can just put a bank card. When you're buying on Taobao, sometimes the supplier allows you to buy using a foreign bank card, so you can simply go here or add a bank card, and then there you just add your card number and the expiration date and all that, and that's convenient. But if you're using platforms like 1688, it's going to be a pain in the butt to pay unless you have a Chinese bank account or an agent working for you. But the good news with 1688 and these kind of platforms is once you pay the supplier doesn't get the money immediately. They go ahead and get the money after you've received the goods and you confirmed it, or after a certain amount of time where they've proven with a shipping number and all that. But realize Taobao and 1688 only ship to domestic addresses, unlike AliExpress and Alibaba can ship overseas. Now if you do want help for your business to procure directly from these suppliers and deal with the shipment with hassle-free payments without worrying about scams, you can consider using our services by downloading our app or simply going to our website, borderlesscommerce.net, that is directly connected to 1688 Taobao, and you can even make manual orders if you want to make a purchase on like Idlefish or Pinduoduo or other platforms like that. Now the second method, and this is more for intermediate and experienced buyers from China, is to pay them using bank transfers directly. Now there's a couple ways to do this, and it really depends on what country you're from. So if you're from the US, for example, like I am, you can use a platform like Wise. But if you use the balance like Wise, you can simply send USD to Chinese yuan or your local currency Chinese yuan, and you want to, let's say, send 1,000 Chinese yuan, and it will go ahead and calculate when the receiver would receive the money. It's quite quick actually when you send in Hong Kong dollars or Chinese yuan from using Wise. Something you need to be aware of is that the fees can get quite large on Wise. Like I would say like 2 to 4% depending on the amount. And the person receiving the money must be a Chinese citizen. You can't have like a foreigner receiving the money if you're dealing with a third party and you want to send them directly Chinese yuan. Another method is Western Union. Again, this is very country dependent. For Americans specifically, you can simply create an account and send a certain amount. I wouldn't recommend this for amounts that are larger than like $10,000. Like keep that in a contractual form. But if you have a relationship with the supplier and you just want to send the money directly, you can use a platform like Western Union. Either you go to the store directly or do it online, which I can do, and you send them the Chinese yuan that way. The fees are a little bit more flexible that way, and it tends to work out. And there is one other method, and that is if you use a platform like Swapsy. I do have to caveat that you usually have to have like a US passport and a visa for China to be able to sign up for this. But once you sign up for it and you have an account, you can send money back and forth between, it's like peer-to-peer trading. You can send money dollars to someone and then you receive Chinese yuan in your Alipay or your WeChat Pay, and then you can use that to pay the supplier directly. Some things to know if you're going to use this method of paying the supplier directly is that this method has no escrow. Once you send the money, it's gone. Even if something were to happen, you can call Alipay and WeChat Pay and they're going to tell you, out of luck. I actually have personal experience with this. If you want, I could tell you about the story, but I did get scammed about 20,000 RMB on an order. And yeah, maybe that's a story for another time, but I tried filing a report through Alipay, calling the police, and let's just say it didn't end up working out at all. I didn't get a penny back. I do not want that to happen to you. It's a bad experience. So when you do these kinds of transactions with suppliers, make sure you've already established a relationship with them, and then you go ahead and pay them. Something to note though, that sometimes these suppliers get sneaky because when they use platforms like like 1688, they have to pay a fee to the platform, whether it's Taobao, 168, etc. And they try and entice you by saying, hey, let's take this transaction offline and just send it directly to my Alipay. They may be able to give you a discount, but if the discount is too crazy, it is too good to be true. I would avoid it. Sometimes companies that are on the verge of bankruptcy, which happened last year, they were on the verge of bankruptcy. They actually had their 168 account closed, and that should have been a red flag saying, hey, your store's not open anymore. That's because they're going in bankruptcy. And then you just send the money directly to them and it's gone, and then you have to like hire lawyers and do some contractual work and all that. It's very annoying, so I want to avoid that. Some things to protect yourself if you do this is you get their contact information, you get their ID card, you get their phone number, you get the closest police bureau next to them, you get the address of their nearest police station, and you have a local person that helps you with the reporting, because if you don't have a local person who speaks Chinese, it's going to be quite tough. The more information you have on the person before you send them the money, the better you're off. But just realize it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get your money back. You may have to take it to court, and then from there you just know there's like civil proceedings that you have to go through. The third method I'd recommend, and this is for the more advanced and you've been doing business with a supplier for years, it's a stable business, is using pro forma invoices and contracts where you split the payments. So first two methods, you pay them the full amount directly, no matter what it is. This third one is a little bit more advanced and it's more for larger enterprises, larger companies. So you set up a pay structure to protect yourself. So you have the company information, their ID card, their business license, where they live. You don't have to go so deep to know as their family information and all that, but you have enough information to actually file a report if something were to happen. And you structure the payment like this. Step one is that you have a 10 to 20% deposit, or call it a down payment. That's just enough for the supplier to start production. Then you pay another 40% when the goods have been shipped to a local agent. So in this case, it's FOB. If you have an FOB that they ship the goods to like the port that's going to ship it overseas, or if you have a contract with Xworks where they just make it in their factory and you deal with picking it up from the factory. Once you see that the goods have been shipped to the location or are ready for pickup and you've like had a video conference with them, then you pay them 40%. And then the final payment can be made right before you ship the products overseas. Like they're clearing through customs, and you say, okay, the leftover, which is like 20%, I'll pay once it's crossed the border and we can confirm that the goods are on their way. Now, a couple ways to protect yourself here is, again, have a contract in place, a written contract, like a pro forma invoice with these payment terms. If you're doing very large amounts of cash in these transactions, it's good to have a lawyer look over the contract and be involved in the process if something were to be mishandled. And lastly, it doesn't hurt to have a third-party company deal with the inspection. So yeah, you may need to pay additionally per workday, but at least you get the ease of mind of having someone go to the factory and check the goods for you. So now you know 3 methods that you can pay your suppliers directly to avoid scams. I'm not saying this is bulletproof. You can still get scammed. It happens to people. Unfortunately, these people get smarter with time, and it's happened to me personally. And just remember, if you need help with any of these sourcing services directly to the Chinese supplier and the logistics involved for your business, feel free to sign up for our website to make a free account and get started with your business. If you found value from this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to know how to buy on Taobao without having a Chinese bank account, without having a Chinese freight forwarder, or anything related to Chinese from the comfort of your home, check out this video right here.